Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 3D Dollars, Dreams, and Discussions with your host, Uncle Will and Shannon B. What's up, everyone? It is I, your boy, Uncle Will. I'm just glad to be here. You know what I'm saying? To be sitting in the presence of the talented, the lovely Shannon B.
Hi guys, welcome back to our show. This is the 3D podcast, which stands for Dollars, Dreams, and Discussions, as you have so recently learned. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate having you here. Our topic for discussion today is going to be why women want to try to raise men.
To boys, to me, but go ahead.
And are women or girls being raised to be too independent?
Which is, to me, a valid question because I see it nowadays where a lot of these women, mothers, let's put it like that, these mothers are raising their sons to be able to come back home when needed. Instead of teaching them how to be young men, stand up, handle your responsibility, and all that good stuff. And then, of course, on the flip side, you have the young ladies, for some reason, they're rough on the girls. When you get out here, don't depend on no man. You better do what you got to do. Take care of your kids, take care of your home, blah, blah, blah. But the man, baby, she ain't good for you. You don't need no woman. And you know I ain't lying now. Come on.
You're absolutely not.
So what do you think about that? I mean, have you ever encountered what is known as a mama's boy?
Probably no severe mama's boys, because I probably would have detected that early on and I would have been pew. But no, I don't think I've seen some people that are like that, but it would be nobody that I was gonna deal with. Absolutely not.
What about your girlfriends? Have any of your girlfriends ever encountered those men that know that if they don't do right at their home, they always have a basement or a bedroom to run back home to?
People I know. I don't think so. I've seen it before though. I've just, in general.
None of your girlfriends have ever. What circle are you running into?
Because
mostly all the women I see, y'all have some freaking problem with these dudes.
I'm very selective about my circle. Let me start there. Because in order for us to mesh, I need you to be real normal, first of all.
Real?
Yeah, you got to go through a friend interview. I got to be like, okay, what kind of drama is you trying to bring into my life? I can't have that.
Okay, as y'all see, Shannon B, she's taking with her extremeness a whole nother level. But let me ask my boy, because we have my man over here on the boards, Keith, tell us, man, have you ever encountered, you have any friends, any associates that's like mama's boys?
No.
Yeah,
none of my friends, my associates, none of them are mama's boy. Majority of the guys that I kick it with or are in my close circle, they're all stand-up independent guys.
Now, with that being the case, though, Kate.
Now, in my circle?
Not in your circle, but you
yes,
ever ran into some cats like that?
I've known cats like that.
Okay.
Yes, that not stand-up-ish, always gotta run to somebody, always gotta be up under somebody. Yes, but not in my circle.
Gotcha.
But I have witnessed.
Okay. You know what? I guess I asked the question wrong because I've been knowing Keith for some years now, over 10, close to 15 years now. And I can't see you let people like that in your circle, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, that'll like bring it down when you got a group of men together, but you got this other entity that you know what I'm saying? Y'all are at the bar and kicking it. You got to buy them a beer all the time, or, you know what I'm saying? It's like whack.
So I changed my mind. I do know some, but I just can't speak on that.
Oh man, hold up.
I know some.
Of this show?
No.
What's the purpose of the show?
Look,
you know what,
if I want to maintain these relationships, I cannot speak.
Now I will say this though, I know somebody personally like that, but I can't speak on it like that. And then I noticed the whole podcast is for discussions and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's what it's about, discussions, right?
But I don't want to put them out there like that.
Exactly.
I don't want to put them out there.
Too
like
close.
That. Okay. Well,
so, but I do know somebody. Yeah, but I do somebody personally that's like that.
Me
that's
too.
Always been like that. And yeah, I can't speak on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you know what, I got you, but Uncle Will can. So
Do your thing.
yes, because that's what I do. So I got a brother. Okay,
Ooh.
okay, I got a brother. You know, hey, look, Black, I love you.
He
You know what I'm
choosing
saying?
violence.
But no. Hey, you said you
2024.
gonna choose violence. I guess I'm choosing violence too, then, right? So my mom's okay. Me and my brothers, I'm like about 10, 12 years apart from them. Okay,
You
And
older or younger?
I'm the oldest of six.
Okay.
So
Oh, I'm the oldest of 6 too. I just realized that. It's
see,
just-
we have a lot of things in common here that she don't realize for some reason.
I'm
But
the middle child.
yeah, because it's
Poor
3 of y'all,
baby.
right? Yeah. So
I'm okay.
I had a curfew coming up. You know, you remember that old saying,
Me too.
"Be in before the lights come on."
Mhm.
That's how it was for me. Now, when it got to my younger siblings as they grew up, my brother them they used to come in like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 15 years of age. You know what I'm saying? And didn't care. And so when they got grown, when they became of age, had a little family, a little girlfriend, and all this stuff, had to always wind up moving back with moms whenever the heat got on there.
Mhm.
But
Got
take
too
it-
hot in the kitchen.
man, but you take it another step further, bring your girl with you now. You see what I'm saying? So
Where they do that at?
exactly. And so, you know, I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, why are you letting him leave and come back all the time, leave and come back all the time, and then now you letting him bring not only him his girl, but him his girl and her child with you or whatever. Like, well, you know, raising you and your you know the 3 before the other 3, you gotta kind of get tired of being a parent after a while. So when the other bunch comes along, you all drained out and everything, and you just like the hell with it or whatever.
People don't be doing those calculations, okay? They don't think about, okay, when I'm 70, this joker will be 20.
Yeah.
What was I like at 20? What was my older child like at 20? Do I want to be going through that again at 70? They don't calculate. They just be doing their business and popping them out. And then there the problem lies when they're taking your Social Security check.
Oh, stop it!
Hey, you know what's funny though? Like you bring that up. Like one of my cousins, he didn't have his first child until he was 50.
50.
Yeah, his girl is 10 years. I think she's 10 years younger than him. But
Yeah.
they married. But yeah, like he didn't have his first child until he was almost 50. So you know, in that argument where you say, well, not that argument, but you saying in their 20s, you in your 70s, like for real, that's gonna be legit them.
Yeah. So then are we saying then? So you have some parents.
But this their first child, so I don't think it ain't gonna be that
Yeah.
lax thing, you know. So it's gonna be a little bit different.
I mean, hey, at 50, you having a child, you tend to gonna be spoil the hell out that child. I would think.
Yeah,
'cause
they
it's your
they
only
too
child.
they too tired at that point.
Nah, they're not. They're not.
I mean,
they're not big. They're
not
not.
like-
they're not like that. So he's a disciplinarian. So
Okay.
you know, the child would experience that. But I'm just saying that whole fact of that's a whole nother discussion. You know, people, you know, having children later on.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be like your whole hookup. Like, let's say if you in your 60s and you think that you about to move into the retirement era, but you still got these kids at home. Like, y'all can't even downsize to try to, get in a place that's more affordable because they gotta have somewhere to live. Like, and I mean,
Yeah.
I know some other cultures they're different from us. Like, those people will stay until they get married. Like, that's just the rules. But
Yeah,
they
you're right.
also focus on marriage more. So hopefully their kid is not around at 40 years old still talking about I'm gonna move out when I get married. They're grooming them to be prepared to, hopefully in those 20s, they'll be ready to move on.
So then are we saying that if there's a male in the house then compared to a male not being in the home,
It
that
done-
maybe that's what may affect that man growing up
No.
to be a proper man or
It
what?
don't make a difference.
Because I'm just saying because women, okay, it's a lot of women out here, single homes that's raising men, kids by themselves or whatever, but not all of them are lax though.
Well, parents just in general, even if it's a 2-parent household, they can be enablers because I think we talked about this before. You got the fathers that won't let their sons do nothing because they can't do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And in your day, it used to be if you didn't do it right, you're going to do it 100 times until you get it right. But these parents will be like, cut the grass. Then the boy, he went 1 inch with it, and no, you ain't doing it right. Just I do it myself.
I
Never
remember that
mind.
conversation. Yeah.
And instead of him, making him do it to learn to do it correctly, he's just gonna take it over. So that young man is never gonna learn how to do it properly. He's just gonna be a bad grass cutter for the rest of his
That's the
his
title
lawn.
right there, a bad grass cutter.
Yeah, his lawn gonna be messed up too. He ain't gonna have no skill. He not gonna know how to change a tire. Nah, I'm all with when people get to a certain level, they don't want to change tires. They don't want to be movers and all that kind of stuff. They want to pay somebody. So I'm with that, but at least have the ability to do so.
Yeah.
So these parents, they not even teaching those life skills that they supposed to be running a household, and much less, there's a lot of black men. Like, you need to know how to survive in this society. You shouldn't, cooking, okay, that's one thing. Some guys, they do learn that from their mothers, but, just general.
I learned that from my mom, yeah.
Yeah, just how to take care of yourself. That's.
But that baby boy syndrome, come on now, that's what's killing me.
But I want you to go back to when you was talking about your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you asked her the question, like, why are you letting him come back? But he's not just coming back by himself. He's coming back with the girl and kids.
Yeah.
Like, how was that conversation?
When I talked to her about that, her thing was, well, he need a place to stay. And that's my baby. You know what I'm saying? And I said, okay, well, your baby is an adult, though. So, to me, you're doing your baby injustice because your baby is bringing a whole woman back with him and a baby, a toddler with them. You know what I'm saying? Look, it got so bad that my mom's had to move from a house to an apartment, okay, to a one-bedroom apartment. She did this on purpose. She moved out of Detroit, right? Moved out near like 16, 17-mile road, right? Thinking that, well, I'm about to leave them in the D. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to leave them, right?
Oh, so she was trying to create less space so that they wouldn't have any.
So they get a mistake.
Yeah, because go ahead and get a big house if you want to and you don't need it.
But did it work? Hells no.
Oh, man.
So
that's hilarious.
you got the living room, the little small living room, got the little couch, the little dinette area. They climbed on the floor, made a little pallet right there on the floor between
What is
the
happening?
couch and one of the chairs on the table. I'm like, how in the hell you do that? And then I'm asking myself too, what kind of woman would want to just lay up with you on your mama's floor in her one-bedroom apartment? You know what I'm saying?
The kind he got.
But then again, you got to look at this too. That's a ride or die chick. That's a whole nother topic too. The definition of a ride or die chick, because for someone that's willing to sleep on the floor.
Shannon, you express your face.
I mean, what? I mean, I'm just saying. Like I said, I'm not trying to knock you, bro. I'm just keeping it 100, or should I say 1,000? Somebody taught me that. Like, no, man, I say 1,000. So I'm gonna say 1,000. I'm just keeping it 1,000. So, but then when I look at my sisters, they're all independent. They all, strong minded. They all working, doing their thing or whatever, and it's like, okay.
Well,
the contrast.
I told my parents this. I told them, I said, y'all actually raised me not to get married and to be too independent. Luckily, I was able to navigate through that and, get that bling. But no, because, I learned all the life skills, which were good. Like, I could change the tire. I know how to put furniture together. I wouldn't say my parents were hard on me in terms of like, oh, you got to get a job and that type of stuff. That was optional. I just wanted to do that. Just having a work ethic. I've been working since I was 12 years old. So I saw my parents work hard, and that just was instilled in me through them. But I would say even though I was raised traditionally on terms of like gender roles, like, okay, the man does this and the woman does this, but just in terms of like prioritizing getting married, you know, some of our counterparts, our Caucasian counterparts, like when they go off to college, like that is priority. Like you not, yeah, get your education. You can go for underwater basket weaving for all I care, but get that husband though. I need you to be hanging around them doctors, them lawyers, them ones that's gonna be something, and you need to get up under their wing.
So you saying it's more of an ethnic thing?
I think so because I mean, think about it. I mean, I'm not gonna say all black households, but you know, I would say a good number of them. You don't see that. Like other cultures, it's like that's expected. Like you grow up, okay, yeah, they do prioritize education. Like you know, African people, like they're very big on like they're highly educated. Now that is a plus for marketability. You know, as far as getting married, but the marriage is still priority. They're not just like, oh, just go out here and just live your life. Like, no, they are actively telling people that they need to be, you know, after they get that education focus, where I don't think that's the goal for like for us. I would say for like black women, it's more like get your education. Like, oh, you don't want to have to depend on the black man. So it's not necessarily get your education and prioritize marriage. It's just get that education. And if you just happen to luck up on the husband, then good for you.
So,
That's interesting.
I mean, it is though.
When I used to go down to Mississippi, back in like the 80s and 90s, like I used to always go down there for the summer. So one of the things that I did pick up on down there was that education was key. They pushed education. And I used to go to like Edwards, Mississippi, which is a small town. But they pushed it. It was a big push. Like a lot of the people down there, like, I mean, it was 50-50, but you know, a lot of the kids down there still went to college, you know, went to Jackson State, went to Prairie View, Arkansas Pine Bluff, whatever. They went to college. So that was one of the things that I noticed in the South was like how they pushed education. But then I realized like, oh, I was like, well, you know, if there's the hub of slavery, it's a little bit different down there because they were the ones who really were, you know, the ancestors who really fought for equality. So because they couldn't go to college or couldn't get education, they pushed it on their kids and their kids pushed it on their kids, you know. So that was one of the biggest things that I noticed down there versus coming up home in the North, Detroit. College wasn't really a big push. It was get a factory job, get, you know, do something else. Like when you graduated high school for girls, you know, it was a little bit different for girls to get more of a higher education. But for guys, you know, college ain't for everybody. You know, you ain't got to go, but you know, get this factory job. You know, it's kind of like that. So I kind of see what you was talking about because, you know, witnessing it, like, oh, that's interesting. And even for me, but go ahead.
And I mean, I would say the more independent that a woman is, it's harder to make the transition once you need to get married. Because you have to like rid yourself of all those behaviors. And I mean, even just like, you know, once you and your husband are going to be living together, like somebody coming in your space, you're not doing things the way that you like to do it. You got to accommodate somebody else, how they do things, you know, all those adjustments. I just feel like it makes it like twice as hard. And the longer, because like, I mean, I pretty much left as soon as I got out of high school. So that was what, 15 plus years, you know, of having my own place and now, you know, I'm coming to a situation where I gotta completely adapt, you know what I'm saying, to a new situation. Like it's, you know, it's interesting.
I mean, that's another thing too. When you are a decent man and you are dating a independent, strong mind woman, like you said, he have to get adjusted to certain things too if you want to be with that woman. But sometimes that independent behavior, that extreme, I call it extreme independent behavior, pushes a man away. You know what I'm saying? And I told one female before that, I'm like, it looked like to me that she was always running away from the relationship because it was like, well, I could do this myself, and I
Hmm.
don't need no man to do
But
this and all
but
that kind of stuff.
but that's an adjustment though. That
Mhm.
I mean, and I get it on both sides. But for a woman, that's an adjustment because if you've been so independent, if you've been doing this on your own for so long, it's it's almost a decade or whatever it is that
Mhm.
you've been doing this, and now a good man comes into play. That's a big adjustment for a woman to be like, oh, I can depend on you
Mhm.
because she's only had to depend on herself.
It's
I mean, it's a
trust.
big
And that's
adjustment,
just a
but
big adjustment. It's trust, like, but
be
that's
willing to make the adjustment though. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
but it takes that
It's
that
easy to say, but
yeah, that's gonna
it's
take a minute.
actual. It's like you know how they say muscle memory, like when you are doing something.
It takes a minute.
Even like when you working out, they'll say like don't develop bad habits on doing the exercise wrong. Let's say because your mind that gets etched in there. Every time you get to go do that action, you gonna automatically do it that way instead of it's gonna take a lot to correct that.
I got
So
you.
it's the same thing. Like for us, it's literally like in you. It's like a routine. And so like when you go to do something, like your instant response is like, so say for instance, I'm driving along and then I get a flat tire. Like my instant response is like, oh, let me pull over. I'm calling AAA. Boom, they're gonna take care of it. Or if I have to, I'll take care of it myself. Opposed to now, you need to call your husband and say, hey, honey, I had a blowout. You know, either he gonna say, okay, call AAA. I'm gonna be there. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just let him know that something happened. Like even that, just even if you're not with somebody that's like what's the word, like they want you to report to them per se, but just as a courtesy, you know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of, hey, I'm going here, I'm doing this, I'll be back, you know, just that kind of checking in for a safety, like somebody trying to have your back.
Yeah.
Even that stuff is something that you have to adjust to, and it
Yeah.
takes time.
And
How
it's
that
all an
work for you
adjustment.
though, too?
Yeah, it's all like I said. I've 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 experienced it. I've seen it where like that independency is like, all right, I get it, but trying to get the person to recognize that you're around, that you're here, it just takes it just like you said, you have to be one. You got to be willing, and
You have to
and
be.
if you are willing, it ain't an overnight thing. It's a shift in their mind that has to happen for them to actually start adopting that thought process.
Yeah.
And then even if let's say like some guys are more chivalrous than others, which like I'm not a big like, oh, if you don't open my door you're dead to me type of person, but like some men, they really enjoy doing that. So I remember I dated somebody like that was like, no question, I'm opening doors, I'm pulling out, I'm doing all the stops. So it was hard for me because he'd be like, you so hard-headed, because I could not stop like getting out the car. Like we
So you
get
wouldn't
to
wait for
the
him to walk around?
no, we get to the location, I'm just like, I'm getting out the car. Like,
But was you doing it purposely? 'Cause you
no,
knew you
I
was trying to
could
do
not.
it?
I was trying not to because I know he wanted to do it. And I just, my brain, like I said, I'm just get to the place, I get out the car, I get up to the door, I just open the door. And he was just getting frustrated because he was trying to be chivalrous and I just could not get
And
myself
you was taking
together.
it from him.
But I wanted to do it. I just, like I said, it was
Like you said,
practice.
it's embedded in your mind to be independent,
Yeah.
strong-willed, and everything like that. I mean, and I think that's why when you do have some of those the men that do have to wind up going back home when they do meet an independent woman, they be bumping heads so tough to where she tell him he got to go. And on that, I applaud you. Get his butt on out of there. But those mothers that teach them women to be independent, why do they drop the ball on the men? And what is the resolution? I mean, because you have 2 boys, I have 3 boys, and my wife and even my kids, we all work together to make sure that these sons, that because I got 1 biological son and 2, but I got 3 boys, so we play the role together to like, hey, look, this is what you need to do, because you once you turn 18, let me go there with you. That's what I told them. Once you graduate from high school, right? The principal extend his hand. He shake it. The other hand had a diploma. You grab it. Once your hand released from the principal, grown. At that point, you an adult. So anything I do after that, it's because I want to do it, not because I have to do it. And a lot of people thought I was crazy. Because I told you this years before, too. A lot of people thought I was crazy. Like, dang, man, I'm just kind of rough. Don't you want to give them time to do this? No, they didn't have time. 18 years. I didn't prep them. 18 years explaining what credit is, explaining what things to do when you get out, get your own place. Don't move in with a woman. Get your own place. Have utilities in your name. Have an apartment in your name. But that's preparation that I was trying to do. But some parents, like you say, even the fathers that's with the mother, they both hinder them. They're like a
But
backup
not
for a
every
while.
culture encourages kids to move out as soon as they turn. Like most other
I didn't
cultures.
say I encouraged them to move out. I just told them I need you to prepare because
Oh,
I need
okay.
you out here by 21. But when
See,
you get on
but
my
they
nerves,
don't
See,
necessarily
but you-
even say
Hey,
21.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
They
you ain't
say-
say that part when the
I
way
didn't
you
say that
explained
part.
it.
I didn't
when
say
you
that
said
part.
18,
No,
Right, that
sounded
sounded like you got
I
to
don't
go.
have
like
to do nothing.
that sounded like his bags was already packed. At
Exactly.
the
You
door.
on the curb.
I gave it 21, but I must add, all of them was out before 21 though. So you
See,
read
but I
between
don't
that
look
line.
at 18 as you grown.
You definitely not grown.
Yeah, you're not grown when you. I don't look at 18 as grown because developmentally in your mind,
Your
you're
brain.
still not there.
Yeah, I think
So,
it's 21. When
I
your
don't.
brain-
So an 18-year-old man or woman, you're not grown. You're still developing. And then they say, well, women mature faster than men and stuff like that. I think women mature faster than men in certain areas, and men mature faster than women in certain areas because all in retrospect, we're brought up completely different.
Right.
So woman will be mature in certain areas or certain facets of life versus a man would be more mature in certain areas than a woman would.
I'm guessing I could see on the end, like let's say single mothers that are raising a daughter. If they were raised to be independent, I see how they're gonna reciprocate that to their daughters. I could understand that. But then the sons, because you have like supposedly the daddy's girls, they wrapped around the dad's finger.
Yes.
So he gonna let them, and then the moms, how they are with the son. So it's that same kind of, so then if a mom raises a son on her own, she's gonna kind of baby him and it's that same thing. So I could see how it could happen with the single parents because more than likely the woman may not even have the skills to teach the son. Like, I mean, a fair amount of women know how to mow lawns and stuff like that, but she just may not teach that to her son because I don't. That's another thing too about when I chose like not to have biological children, the responsibility. Like, how many parents can say that they really took the time to prepare their kids for adulthood? Not everybody can say that.
You're right.
Because and this was probably one of the biggest things for me, and I think this is just crazy. So you want your child to go to college. First of all, an 18-year-old is not ready to make, let's say, $100,000 decision. They're not ready for that.
True.
So if you haven't educated them on how important this is, and if this go left, how this could impact their life,
True,
but they're
true.
just signing on a dotted line because you didn't, like, it's asinine to me when people they put like the college future and all that in the kids' hands. They're like, oh, well, if you want scholarships and all that, you got to do that. Like, they're not supervising it. They're not checking in to make sure the kid is actually making kids hate writing essays and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, some kids are going to be just naturally born good writers, but they might be sending us some crap. And you wondering, like, why they not getting no scholarships? You ain't proofread it. You ain't sat down to make sure they actually put a good effort. Because some kids will just do something because you said do it. But since they don't really care about it, they don't understand the importance, they're not going to put a good effort. So they're not getting nothing. They coming back with $0 and you wondering why. You can't just put that in their lap. You know what I'm saying? They're not prepared for that. I mean, teaching them about banking. How many people know how to actually go out and get their first place? Like, are you going with them to make sure that they understand the paperwork with, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, get out here, like, and figure it out. And I mean, in today's
Fly, be
age,
free.
it's easier because we have the internet.
Yeah.
But before, when you didn't have that, I mean, you just was just bumping your head all over the place. Next thing you know, you 30-year-old with bad credit because you didn't understand credit cards. You didn't got evicted. Like, you didn't know you got repossessed. All these things that gonna impact you later in life that you was just supposed to magically just know and understand.
So you said you ain't never drove a car and you 5'5" and they throw you the keys to the Yukon Here you go.
Drive.
Drive.
Drive, sucker.
Drive. I need you.
Yeah, they not accurately prepared. Whereas, I've seen with my own eyes, like when I worked in banking, I've seen Caucasian people bring their kids in the bank, whether it's for the family business or for their own personal accounts, and they are explaining every step of the way. I remember I seen a white lady and her daughter, they were sitting down having lunch or something, and she was explaining to her like, hey, I'm about to add you as an authorized user, this is why I'm doing this, like on a credit card. So like she fully, but you can tell the parents that they realize that I'm raising a future adult, and they deal with their kids accordingly. Because like even some of the kids that come on the plane that are flying by themselves, I mean, there was this kid like earlier this kid was just top tier. I mean, I told his parent.
How old was he?
He was a teenager, but young teen, probably 13, 14 maybe.
Right.
But he was so polite. Like he was like a little grown man. Like he just knew the entire how things are supposed to go. Like when I sat down, because we have to brief them separately to make sure they know the restrooms are, the exits, what our name is, how to. So he was like, yep, and I do this, and if this happens, and if somebody blah, 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 and blah, blah, he just ran it down. I was like, well, sounds like you know what you're doing. I'm like, you do this all the time?
What?
He was white.
White, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, you do this all the time? Like, he's like, oh, yeah, and I go this many times a year and this, just ran it down. I was just so impressed. And then, like, his dad came to pick him up, and I was just like, your son is just the best. And he was like, yeah, I get that all the time.
Now, I do want to say this, though. Within the black community, I do see a lot, especially within, and I guess it does break down the generations, what generation you in. I do see a lot, especially around the people that I'm around. I do see a lot of them with their kids, how they're raising their kids. They're raising their kids, like you said, in the mindset of that you're going to be an adult at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So they talk to them and they express things to them in that way. They, even when it comes to chores, money, whatever it is, they talk to them in that manner. So that way they know, all right, as you're getting older, that one of the things I used to always say, the older you get, the more responsibility you get.
Bingo.
And there's like little things that I think that parents don't even think about, like, oh, my kid needs to know. Like, think about just opening the door and locking the door to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids don't know how to do that. They literally be struggling. They wouldn't know how to, like, if it was emergency and the doors was locked, they would be struggling to, how do I get out of here? Like, let's say when your kid get old enough to stay home by themselves, they may not know how to, they just see you do it all the time, but that don't mean, sometimes you just, especially now they got phones, they in the phone, like they just coasting through life and you just doing everything for them. They not even paying attention. Yeah. And then it's like one day they going to have to do that, or one day it's an emergency and now they just don't know, they just frozen like, oh, because my parents do everything for me. I don't know how to, how to do anything.
So we need to do, well, not we, because when I say we, I mean ethnically. Because and I say that because when you mentioned about the young man on the plane, and you mentioned about the situation when you was doing a job with your partner back in the days, those were separate, those are different ethnic groups. But when you encounter our people, a lot of the black men or black males, a lot of them is not mentally and emotionally ready to be out. They're not stable mentally in regards to being responsible, even having a kid, let alone having their own place. You know what I'm saying? And they always have to revert or fall back to that safety net, which is home. So I guess then what this means, then we really need to do a better job in our own hookup then.
We got some work to do.
In preparation then, because the young ladies, I ain't gonna say most, but a lot of the young ladies, in regards to the independence of seeing what their mother went through with their deadbeat dad or with her crazy boyfriend, they say, I ain't about to be going through this, I'm gonna do this. Or moms tell them they need to, don't make the mistakes that I made by getting, you know what I'm saying? So we need to really work up on ourselves, did I see?
Well, and some of it too is just that person, who you are as a person, because like that's why some kids can be raised in the most terrible neighborhood or whatever, man or woman, and they mama was on crack, and they daddy was in jail, but they still turn out and be a millionaire and an author and a doctor and do all these wonderful things.
Right.
That came from within them, because they may not have seen it or had it in their environment, but somewhere in their mind it was like, oh no, I got to do better than this.
Yeah.
And they were willing to do whatever whether
in.
it was like at school, I'm gonna participate, I'm gonna get on the football team, I'm gonna try to get, whatever little way that that I say God made for them, that they can figure it out, they get there. Which I was like that. Like, my parents gave me a lot of opportunities. They gave me a platform to like take it and run with it. And I feel like that's all that some people need. So like, even though they might have been raised a certain way, but like, they sent me to an immersion school that's still open, where they taught me a foreign language along. So it means basically you learning both at one time. So you learning English and that other language together. So like, it starts from kindergarten up to 5th grade. So as you're learning the American alphabet, for me it was Japanese. So you're learning it in Japanese. Like all of those, as you're going up in age, math, like we had an abacus, all that stuff, you learning it in the other culture as well. Okay. So my parents don't speak other languages, but for whatever reason, they put me in this school where they taught me a foreign language, which was later down the road going to give me opportunities. Yeah. Even now, people are like, we have people that are designated language speakers in the airline. So everybody like, you need to go use your Japanese, you know what I'm saying? But that was an opportunity right there that I got from two parents who came from the city that had no idea. They just thought it was a good idea. Then, when you're able to like grow up in a different environment where you can kind of see some different people doing different things, you like, okay, yeah, so, but I was the type of person, I would always seek out, like, if I didn't know something, I would just volunteer to try to, learn something. Like when I was in high school, shout out to Southfield High. It was such a good public school because
Southfield.
They like, I was in the business academy, and our like senior project or whatever was, we had to do an internship at a business. So I went to, it was called Michigan Food and Beverage Association. So I met this lady named Cheryl Timms. Shout out to you, Miss Cheryl. I'm supposed to see her soon.
Miss Cheryl.
But working with her, like that was my first exposure to like corporate. So basically, I forgot how long it was. I feel like it was like for that whole school year or something like that. But we would go like on the weekend or something like that, and we would, be at our internship. Like people in the engineering program, they did Lear. But I remember like I wrote a resume for her, and I showed it to her, and she crumpled it right in my face and threw it in the garbage can.
Wow.
She'll remember that if she see it.
Why she do that?
She said, "Do it again."
Oh.
But that was my first experience of, you got to be excellent. You got to bring it correct. You got to come correct. You can't just do something and just turn it in and that's going to be acceptable. So I was crushed, but at the same time, that is something I've never forgot. That's a life lesson that has stuck with me all these years later. I always remember that. Like, nope, you got to do your best.
So it's almost as if you go back to the old saying, it also take a village.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Somebody
Not only
had to care
within the home, but also resources outside the home. But also that person also need to be willing to be receptive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same time too.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to wrap this on up, my brother, I love you.
Now you're gonna try to clean it up.
You know. Uncle Will love his bro. But getting back to it, we do need to take a little bit more responsibility with our children, prepping them, getting them ready for what lies ahead outside the home. That includes letting them know, sometimes let them sit down with you as you get ready to pay a bill, light bill, gas bill, whatever.
Absolutely.
When you go out to shopping at the market, let them see that you actually spending money, and let them see the receipt. Let them know, the food you eat,
it ain't free.
It costs. Okay.
I still bring a calculator when I go grocery shopping.
See what I'm saying?
My youngest be looking at me. He knows, like, oh, he got that calculator.
There you go. You keeping count of them pennies, but you teaching them to be respectful of the pennies.
Mm-hmm.
Be respectful of it. So when they eating your food or they come up in the house and they don't want to eat the food, they want to throw the stuff away. Like, hey, You do that costs money, player.
Exactly.
Or play yet. So let's get to it. Let's be more responsible to our children. Teaching the men how to be men, teaching the young ladies how to be young ladies, but also letting them know that if you do walk and stumble into a good man, treat him accordingly. Don't judge him based upon the other bomb that you had or whatever. Because I mean, true enough, you guys don't have a lot of choices. But damn, give a person a chance. You know what I'm saying? Let me fix your tire. Well, no, Uncle Will too old for that. I ain't fixing no tire. You let the wife, she call it, like you say, AAA.
Yeah.
Or have a or OnStar. And there you go. Uncle Will ain't fixing no tires. But I got them resources to pay to get that tire fixed, though. So, with that being said, my man Key, my girl Shannon B, thank you guys for being on the show. Anything you want to say before I wrap it on up?
We got some work to do, y'all. We got some serious work to do. If you don't have the resources or you don't know, there is somebody in your community. There's too many online big brother, big sister, somebody can make sure that you get what you need to be able to help your child. I understand we didn't learn some things, but we have to make sure that our children are equipped. It is no excuse. You cannot be out in this world just scrolling around because the world is not friendly, and you can get some boo-boos that take a long time to fix. So we just have to continue to do our due diligence and care. Just care. Like, I know life gets busy. We get tied up in work and all these other things. But if you don't want them little rascals coming back knocking on your door with the treasure trove of baby mamas and chillins, make sure that you do your job. Find the time to implement these things. But I don't think this will be the last time that we talk on this topic. We'll probably have to break it down more and revisit it in some way, because there's definitely more to be spoken of on the topic.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna revisit it. But Kay, my man Keith, anything you want to say, man?
Nah, man, life be lifing. We just got to get together.
See, I like that. Life be life, and I'm gonna have to. That's not copywritten yet. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay,
life be life.
I'm about to use that too. So, with that being the case, want to say again, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that alert button, so when we release new content, you guys will always be up to date and aware. Thank you. I'm Uncle Will.
I'm Shannon B.
Deuce 3D.